Hey friends, my name is Jake. Welcome to Canadian Cutting Edge. If you're not yet a subscriber, please consider subscribing. That would help a whole lot. If you like the video, hit the thumbs up. If you don't, hit the thumbs down. Leave a comment. All those things really help out. Today we're taking a look at this knife. This is the KU214 by Kubey. This is one of their special designs. It comes in 3 different model numbers, this same design, which means 3 different blade steels, 3 different ways of the handle being made, liner lock, titanium frame lock. I think they got big plans for this knife. It's been out for pretty much about a year or so, I think, and I kind of like it. I've got the lowest cost version, the KU214. I prepared this video, my notes for it, about 3, almost 4 weeks ago, and then somehow it just got missed in the mix. So some of the prices might be off by a few dollars, but I'll leave current links down below so that you'll be able to buy one of these if you want to. I got mine from, I believe, White Mountain Knives, and he's got a number of the different models there as well. This D2 steel, G10 stainless steel liners, and a milled pocket clip, which is kind of nice. It's got almost a Warncliffe style kind of blade. Some people call this a reverse tanto, but of course it's not sharp over here at all. A little bit of a belly, fairly straight, and quite comfortable in hand. The flipper action's quite good, and you might be interested in it. Stick around, we're going to go to the tabletop and take a good close look at this thing. Keep watching. I suspect it first came out as the middle of the road version, the middle budget version, the KU164, which is, a good knife. Here's some pictures of it, and I think, it looks good. It's got decent steel. This, the KU214, it's got a higher model number. And then you've got the KB281, and that's the titanium with the S35 VN, or, the middle version you can get with M390 or D2. Lots of options. It's a nice knife. Let's take a look how big it is compared to the Ontario Rat 1. Line up those pivot pins. Yeah, it's a similar size knife. It's a large folder, a little bit smaller than the Ontario Rat 1. You've got very much the same amount of cutting edge, tip to the heel of the blade. It's a little bit lighter than the Ontario Rat, and it's a little bit more fun. It's got a built-in flipper. The flipper tab's kind of unique. Take a look at that. It's got jimping on the front. It's really designed for light switch method, pulling it back like that. But you can push back just on a bit of an angle, and out she comes. Good detent on this. It wants to stay shut when it's shut. The lockup, I should do this earlier on most of my videos. It's exactly how I want a brand new knife to be. We've got ceramic ball bearings, ceramic detent in there, and quite smooth. Just takes a little bit of a shake, and she wants to shut down. Shut closed. We've got Kubey's stylized pivot pin, T8, and then we've got T8 screws back here. At least I think they're T8. I should go get my screwdriver. Be back in a second. Don't go to sleep. Okay, I'm back. If my video is making you sleepy, shut it off. Watch something else. Unless, of course, it's bedtime and you want to get sleepy. T8, yep, and very little play on it. These screws are nice, high-tolerance screws. Kubey has these screws made for them, and it's just nice. It's T8 everywhere, and that's quite nice. Let's take this knife apart, see what it's like inside. Okay, so as you can see, I've got a bunch of screws here. I took the screws out And, you know, it doesn't want to come apart. I don't want to stick stuff in there and start prying. You know, that's how things get wrecked. And I don't need to take it apart better. I can just, unfortunately, I can't show you all of the skeletonizing, but if you look, you can see a little bit of it right there. There's a sort of squarish hole there and another one there on this side. And then the liner lock side has got, you know, a small rectangular kind of milled out skeletonizing right there, and that's it. It doesn't want to come apart that way. That's not too bad. But here you go. You can see that we've got some of my dog hair right there. Phosphor bronze cage, ceramic ball bearings. That's how you get that really nice action. It's not lubricated. It's dry in there. I do like to lubricate even my ceramic ball bearings. That's about all you can see. And here's the pocket clip taken apart. Looks nice. You've got little lines milled on it across there, and on the back it's got milling lines that go straight along it. It's a well-made pocket clip, a nice three-dimensional clip. Very functional, very useful. The pivot screw is just round. It's free spinning, but there was no problem. I didn't even have to put pressure on one side. I just put my screwdriver on the side that has the pocket clip, and it started coming apart. It didn't come loose at all during use, so, you know, kudos for them that they did a decent job, even though it is a free spinning pivot screw. At least it didn't have any problems. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clean out these surfaces, add a little bit of lubrication in there, and put it back together again. Okay, now let's look in more detail at this blade. We've got a nice bead blast finish, which I generally don't like all that much, but there it is. Now, see, again, you know, I thought I had reviewed this knife. I've already sharpened this guy, but I do have a record of the grind angles on it. The sharpening from the factory was done quite poorly on this knife, but I can show you it's not that hard to get a nice, beautiful edge on it, even though it's D2 steel. We've got a nice dip here on the handle and the big jimping here. It's very comfortable for the thumb. And this dip up here, if you want to do some hard cutting, it's actually not that bad. It feels like I have to stretch my thumb out a bit to do that. So my hands are just into the extra large range, 9 or 10 in the European men's sizes. If your hands are smaller, this is going to be quite a stretch for you. It'd be much more comfortable just keeping your thumb back here. Because you can't get your finger up here comfortably or safely. You're going to get close to that cutting edge because, you know, it's rounded the wrong way. But, you know, you just have to know what you want. If you don't want this, don't buy it, right? So I like that. It's just very slightly chamfered on the edges here, so not hot in hand at all. And you've got a bigger chamfer right there on both sides. And it starts getting thinner right there as well. So from here forward, it's slowly getting thinner. And it's got a fairly decent tip here. It's not super strong, but it's a decent tip there. And just a flat surface on the steel there. Like I said, very little belly back here. A good sharpener's choil. We've got a sort of a smooth, it's not a straight line down. It's a bit of a radius coming into the plunge right there. Let's see if we get even more light in here. Get this to focus here. There we go. You can see a line right there from the light. Whoa, come on, focus. There you go. Depending on how the light is, you can see a line that ends right with my fingernail and goes straight up towards where my finger is up here by the D2. So the plunge is coming down and the plunge ends where my fingernail is. So there's a section here that's a little bit thicker. I wish the plunge came down a little bit quicker. because I wouldn't want the sharpness choil to be any bigger. Very, very minor thing. It's not a big deal at all. Just something to mention. Other than that, the blade, quite nice. You just have D2 right here on the blade. And on this side, you've got Kubey on the flat, so it's a full flat grind. We've got this unique flipper tab with that jimping that I already showed you, and it just works really well. The handle, we've got a backspacer that's G10, the same brown G10 as this handle, and it comes in several different colors, and this is a rounded milled. It's not a flat surface. It's a smooth G10 that's been 3D milled. Quite comfortable. Very small chamfer along the spine of the handle and in the belly of the handle and all the way around. Just the edge is just broken softly. Quite nice. You don't have much for skeletonizing in here, but there's a little bit that you saw. And back here in the back corner, you've got a lanyard hole, totally big enough for 550 paracord. And it's comfortable. You know, reverse grip. Oh, that color is just washed out, isn't it? Oh, it got, the exposure got locked. Sorry about that. That looks a whole lot better. Yeah, I cut myself the other day right there. It's comfortable in hand. You know, reverse grip, fist grip, saber grip. Very useful. I like that. It did come with this. When they drilled this out, you can see that it's a little bit lighter right there where my thumbnail is. Let's get it to focus. There you go. Oh, I just had it. Focus. There you go. You can see it right there. A little bit of a chip out, and it's chipped underneath, but it's still being held in place. So that's not the greatest thing, but it's not a big deal either, especially on a budget price knife. And here's the clip. It's a nicely milled clip. Good screw on there to hold it together. Yeah, there's some white thread locker in there, but I like these screws. They're just a good quality screw and a nice big and a nice square where the pocket clip sits in. I really wish they could have done it on both sides, but because this pocket clip is curved, you know, they would have had to make two pocket clips, but this is a nicely milled pocket clip. It's got milled lines almost at a 45-degree angle across it, and then it's got that sort of unique shape at the end. And, you know, just nicely rounded, well made. Let me put it back together. And let's see how well it works on the pocket. It tries to climb over the edge right away and smooth down, and you just have a little bit of the knife sticking out of the pocket. And I like this sort of matte finish on the pocket clip. It doesn't draw attention to itself. It holds well, and it looks good. Let's go over all of the sizes, dimensions, and specs on this thing. We'll have this tape measure on the screen while I'm talking about that. When you see this gone, if you're using fast forward, you know that I'm back to the closing summary and everything. The weight of this knife, 129 grams, 4.6 ounces. So, you know, a good middleweight knife. The sharpness from the factory, it was 195 best. 200 and less is considered sharp, so it's just barely in that sharp range from the factory. I'll tell you why in just a little while. The cutting edge length, 8.54 centimeters, 3.36 inches. Blade length tip to the G10 here, 8.9 centimeters, 3.5 inches. The blade thickness, 3.98 millimeters, which is 0.157, so well over an eighth of an inch thick. The blade depth, and I measured about an inch up from the sharpness choil, 2.64 centimeters, 1.039 inches. The thickness behind the grind at the same spot, 0.6 millimeters, which is 23.5 thousandths of an inch. And now that I've sharpened it, it's closer to 24.5 thousandths of an inch. So it's getting a little bit thick. But that makes it good for, you know, hard cutting, you know, going through harder materials and things. The grind angles. Now this was a problem from the factory. One side was 28.4 degrees. The other side was 28.7 degrees. And there was some slight variation along it, but it was just a very wide angled knife in this, so you're plowing into stuff instead of slicing into things. So I've sharpened it to 18 degrees per side because D2 is good for that, and it can handle that. If it's not too hard, you know, D2 gets chippy if it's too hard, but if it's not too hard, it's just fine. And when I was sharpening it, you know, it feels like to me that it's not a super hard D2. It felt like very similar to sharpening, you know, at around 58 Rockwell hardness or something like that. And I like D2 at that hardness a lot. So now that it's sharpened, it cuts a whole lot better. I'm getting, you know, 60 for the best score for how sharp it is, you know, instead of 195. So yeah, I'm liking that. Now for the handle length, 11.99 centimeters, 4.72 inches. The grip area, it's around 10 centimeters, about 4 inches. The handle thickness, not counting the pocket clip, 1.39 centimeters. That's 0.547 of an inch, so just over half an inch isn't bad. The handle depth, it's biggest right about here, not counting here over by the pivot, but here in the handle where you grab it. 3.08 centimeters, 1.212 inches. The knife depth when it's closed, it's a fair bit more, 3.62 centimeters, 1.425 inches. And the total length of the knife when it's opened, 20.81 centimeters, which is close to 8 3/8. Quite nice. How much does this knife cost? Well, when I checked, when I got it, White Mountain Knives has it listed for $29.99. Yep, $30. You can save 10% with coupon code CCE, and that brings it to $26.99. I think this is worth $26.99 all day long. It's a very nice knife for that. The action's good, the detent's great, smooth. The ball bearings are very nice. Oh, I didn't mention the balance yet. The balance point here is right there, which is quite nice as well. You know, it feels good in the hand. If you're looking for this, White Mountain Knives is the best place to get it. If they're out of stock on any of them, on each page with each color, you can click on the orange button that says notify me, and you will get an email when there is more in stock. You can also go to the bottom and find the contact us link, and then you could email Justin, the owner, and ask him if he's going to be getting these in anytime soon or not. You know, and he's happy to converse and talk about knife sales to his customers. So what do I think about? I think this is quite nice. I think these screws are very, very much like the Civivi screws. Might be the same factory. There's about 4 or 5 major knife factories in China. It's not far-fetched to think that this is probably made by the same group that makes Civivi knives, and I like how those are done. I like them quite a lot. It's a comfortable grip, even reversible. You know, that grip. I like that this is a nicely, gently rounded G10, nicely chamfered, and the pocket clip, no hot spots whatsoever with the shape of this pocket clip. It's just well made. I wish there was a left-hand side, but, you know, us lefties don't always get what we want, do we? The forward rest area, if you've got large hands, that's quite comfortable. But this nice blocky jimping is very comfortable as well. Nice proper size sharpness choil. Yeah, the plunge, yeah, that's okay. I like that there's not an awful lot of writing on the blade. You know, that little D2 and that Kubey is not too dark, but, you know, not bad. It's a nice knife. If you like this video, please hit that like button and share it with somebody. Thank you for subscribing. That really does make a big difference. remember, friends, always cut towards your chum, not your knuckle or your thumb. Bye for now.